Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thank you once again for joining us. Another episode featuring Christian from the Friday Night Panel and his ongoing episode on the Olympics on Talking Fight. And today we actually have some news not only related to the Olympics coming up this summer in Tokyo, but also boxing in particular.
We do, Graham. One of the things that we've been talking about as an ongoing thing here is the cancellation of the world qualifiers that were due to take place in Paris in June. And with the new system that's been put in place in lieu of that, where the top ranked fighters who have not qualified for the Olympics, based on their rankings going back to 2017, can qualify that way now. So we're starting to hear the very first people who have qualified this way, who have hit that point where their qualifiers have already taken place, to the top ranked who did not get through on a qualifier round initially, but are high enough ranked that nobody's going to take this from them between now and the game. So mathematically speaking, they are going to the games. And we're starting to see the first of these announcements coming out. Today, we heard the first of these happening actually out of our friends in the Philippines. Where boxer Neddy Petecchio and Carlo Palom are going to join the national teammates Felix Yumar Marcial and Irish Magno at the Tokyo Olympic Games in July. Now, the Association of Boxing Alliances in the Philippines, their Secretary General, Ed Picson, announced Saturday afternoon, this past Saturday afternoon, Picson was quoted as saying that sorry, I apologize. It's not this past Saturday. It's already Saturday in the Philippines. Today is Friday. So this would have been first thing in the morning, Saturday or today. But their Secretary General, Ed Picson, announced that, quote, the International Olympic Committee Boxing Task Force has sent to the Philippines Olympic Committee confirmation notices of the qualification to the Tokyo Olympics for 4 Filipino boxers. So Yumar Marcial and Irish Magno, Neddy Petecchio, and Carlo Palom now will be we'll kind of round out the banner holders for the Filipino campaign at the Olympiad in Tokyo in Japan. The entry of Petecchio and Palom has raised the country's Olympic standard bearers to 6, counting pole vaulter Ernest John Obena and gymnast Carlos Edriel-Yulo. So, well, Marcial and Magno were able to book their tickets to Tokyo through the Asia-Oceania Olympic boxing qualifier that took place in Amman, Jordan, just about a year ago, actually. Palom and Petecchio both were both gold medalists at the 30th annual Southeast Asian Games in 2019. Now they have advanced, once again, quote, by virtue of their highest standings in their respective weight categories in the Olympic qualifying rankings, according to the ABAP Secretary General Picson. The IOC Boxing Task Force, which took over the Olympic boxing preparations following the suspension of the tournament in Paris, which we've talked to before, and following the suspension of the AIBA over governance concerns over their governance issues, scrapped the world qualifying event in Paris. And as we know, these are now going regionally. Who are your top fighters? So in the tournament's place, the announced during the IOC had mentioned this past February that the qualifying ratings would be used in lieu of this tournament. Now, we've talked all about the ins and outs of this, but for the tournaments that have already had their qualifiers happen, now those are the only people we're going to start seeing these announcements from right now. Palom, who was a gold medalist again in the 30th Southeast Asian Games lightweight flyweight division, is ranked number 12th in the world right now in the men's flyweight. Well, Petecchio, also 2019 World Boxing Championship gold medalist, is ranked number 5 in the women's featherweight weight rankings. So both of these boxers have now moved up to number 1 in their respective weight classes, since all of the boxers above them who outranked them to this point have already qualified for the Olympics for this region. Marcel, who topped his weight class in the Olympic qualifiers, is going to be battling in the men's middleweight division, while Irish Magno scraped through to Tokyo just kind of barely in her qualifier, winning a box off in the flyweight category. So ABAP President Ricky Vargas, who was elated at the development, said, let us all come together now and focus on the challenges ahead, not only for our boxers, but for all Filipino athletes. Now more than ever, they need us to stand firmly behind them. So Petecchio, Magno, and Palom are now in Thailand with the national boxing team at the training camp that we mentioned just the other day in the run up to the Olympics. Marcial, on the other hand, left for the U.S. in October and is actually now training in L.A. with ring guru Freddie Roach. And this is after signing a 4-year pro contract with MP Promotions, owned by Manny Pacquiao, this past July. ABAP, however, has invited Marcial, who is himself a 3-time Southeast Asian Games gold medalist, to join them in Thailand for the training camp so that he can reacquaint himself with the nuances of the amateur game, which, again, that's something that we've covered a few times, Graham, the difference, obviously, in technique. Being a points-based system, so we're focused on speed and scoring as opposed to knocking your opponent down, staggering, extra hard punches, ring generalmanship, and the other things that are going to get you points, awarded points in a pro fight versus an amateur bout. However, though, the Las Vegas-based MP chief Sean Gibbons has said that he would prefer the boxer to remain in the U.S. for workouts while prepping him for his second pro fight, which is due to come up next month. So Graham, we'll be keeping an eye out for more announcements like this as they start to trickle in. Obviously, any that do manage to trickle in over the next little while are going to be from Asia, Oceania, or Africa, as we're still going to be waiting to see who's going to qualify the old-fashioned way from both the Americas and as well as the rescheduled European qualifier. So we'll keep an eye on the ear to the ground with that, and we'll keep you updated on that one. Speaking of Europe, though, we have been talking a bit this week about the ongoing Bosphorus tournament that's currently being held in Istanbul. Now, we've been following the Indian team throughout this one, and the big story for anybody who's bothered to Google this tournament today has been Nikat Zareen, who in this morning's session stunned 2-time world champion Nazim Kazabeh of Kazakhstan to enter the women's 51-kilogram semifinals. Now, Zareen, who had earlier defeated the 2019 world champion Paltseva Ekaterina of Russia in the pre-quarterfinals, looked unfazed and confident against her opponent from Kazakhstan. She was able to control the pace of that fight right from the beginning and prevailed 4-1 on cards over Kazabeh, who was a gold medalist from 2014 and 16 world championships. Zareen, at this point, herself has at least guaranteed herself a bronze with a place in the Final Four. Apart from Zareen, the 2018 Commonwealth Games gold medalist Gurev Solanki, fighting in the 57-kilogram category, also sailed in the semifinals after a tough contest against local fighter Aykul Mizan. Now, both boxers attacked throughout the bout, but Solanki showed his technical supremacy and in a similar 4-1 card win assured himself, again, at least a bronze as he moves into the semifinals. Semifinals action will be taking place throughout the course of the day today, moving into the finals tomorrow. So we're going to be taking a bit of a look on Monday just to see how all these finals kind of play out for this tournament. Anyone who is interested in watching a bit of this tournament, though, this is a pretty easy one to find, as the Turkish Boxing Federation is live streaming this one on YouTube as we speak. So I don't know about you, Graham, but I'll be switching over to catch a couple of those bouts as soon as we're done here today. And obviously, we'll be moving into the finals tomorrow. So we'll have a bit to talk about on Monday regarding that. But those are the big headlines for today. We've seen the first of the qualifiers on the new system, and Bosphorus is moving into its semifinals.
Right, great news. Thank you very much. Thanks for the update, both from the Philippines and from the Bosphorus tournament. I guess we'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, I will be back in my usual bricked-in setting by then, out of the library, but we'll see you at 7 o'clock tonight.
All right, thanks very much, Christian. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.